Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me now. I do not know if you can. So if anyone wants to come on here, it looks like the volume's working okay from what I can see. So I'm going to move everything up here. I actually do have a way to see the audio stuff, so I forget you can do that. All right. There we go. Oh, nope. There we go. Hey, Julie. Now, where did I put the... There we go. There we go. Yeah. Okay. All right. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. And you can see me okay. I might need to adjust the color temperature of the lights here. Trying this new / old camera out. And so hopefully it goes okay. So let me adjust the color temperature here and make it a little more bright. Okay, so let's do that. There we go. Okay. I feel like that looks good. It kind of fades me out a little bit, but I think that looks good. Let's see what the cards look like when I hold them up. Oh, that looks good enough. Okay. All right. So let's get started here. I'm going to start shuffling the cards. Again, I think you guys should be able to hear me. I can adjust the gain a little bit here, get things going. I just don't want the audio to crackle. So hopefully that's good. All right. Let's get to shuffling here and see what we can come up with. So we'll be looking at tomorrow's energy. We'll be looking at today's too. Let's do that. Let's look at November 30th. And let's see what we can come up with here. So November 30th of 2021. Let's see what we can come up with. There we go. Oh, we already had a card pop out. Okay, we had another card pop out. All right, so we're going to read that off to the side. The cards are wanting to come out. They usually don't flop out like that. So we'll see what these cards have to say here. Okay. Let's do two more shuffles here. See what we can come up with. Hopefully everyone had a good Thanksgiving. I know I didn't. It was not the funnest, but I'm sure everyone had an interesting Thanksgiving. Let's put it that way. All right. You can feel some energy coming up in here, a little bit of energy. So some of us today could be going through some anxiety, right? I'm feeling that kind of energy right off the bat, anxiety, and then I heard the word breakdown. So there could be something going on where maybe our mental health is feeling a little less. Hey, Moon Honey, how are you doing? Maybe our mental health is feeling a little less resilient. So I'm going to do this here. I'm going to see what else I can get because my heart rate is starting to increase as well. All right. So let's see what we got here. Oh, Julie, that's okay. So that's taking effect there. So that's something I'm feeling so far. Another thing that I'm getting is it's kind of like when I look at this card here, this is the 8 of Pentacles. Okay. This to me is saying we're following breadcrumbs. So when I say following breadcrumbs, it feels like we're reaching for something that feels incomplete. I feel like we're the only ones that can complete this task. So it just feels like there's kind of a sense of confusion, but there's a sense of like needing to do something. Kind of like if you can imagine, hurry up and wait. That's the kind of energy that I'm feeling. So the body could be going through a sense of anxiety, strong anxiety. This could also be a symptom of a spiritual kind of, I guess, upheaval, right? And maybe this was tied to the Thanksgiving weekend. Maybe this was tied to whatever. But it feels like there is something here where we're trying to express ourselves in a more positive direction, but we don't necessarily know what that direction is quite yet, but we want to be expressive. So that's good. That's good. There's a part that wants to break out. The anxiety that's happening here, it's energy that isn't being spent doing anything else. And that's why the anxiety can happen. We have excess amounts of energy, and so we need to put that into something, right? And generally speaking, it can be more of a creative endeavor. It can be more of something we can put our energy into that way. Let's look at these other cards, though, and I'll explain some of this. So then we have this card. We have the moon right here. Kind of hard to see it. There we go. The moon card right here. So the moon, and then, well, I'll read this card in conjunction. Then we have judgment. Okay. Judgment in reverse with the moon card. Okay. Those two cards right here, subconscious, avoiding the spiritual or avoiding purpose. Something is telling us to go for it, and another thing is telling us to stop, right? Maybe we're waiting for the perfect time to do something in our lives. Maybe we're waiting for just the absolute perfect moment for things to happen. And I'll let you guys in on a secret. Maybe I'm going to burst that bubble just a little bit, but there is no perfect time. There is now. And in 5 seconds from now, there's another now. And that's the best time to start something, is now. If we're waiting until we feel like we have enough of the resources, or we have this, or we have that, we're really just putting it off. We're delaying trying something, right? And if that's the case, if we're delaying trying something, then it's going to make it so that we're going to keep delaying it, right? And here's the interesting part. Some of us will delay. Some of us will delay something because we don't believe we deserve success. Some of us will delay something because we don't believe, or because we believe we'll fail. Both of those stem from change. Both of those stem from the fear of change, or the fear of having to adapt to a situation that we don't feel like we could handle. But the only way we know if we can or can't handle it is to try. And to me, the trying part is the most difficult. That's the most difficult. Also, I keep getting something. I had the word hyper come into my head, and then I had the word socket, which is weird. So I'm wondering if there's shoulder pain, or if something happened. Maybe we hyperextended something. I'm not sure if that's something that happened, but there could be pain in the body as well. So that could be for some people out there. Yeah. Okay. Let me take a drink here and see what we can do. Coffee. Okay. Let's draw some more cards and go a little bit deeper into this. So we're going to use these cards here were the Fountain Tarot. These ones here are the Energy Oracle Tarot. You guys know, apparently at this point in time, I never use any new decks. It is like the same 4 over and over again. I'm going to try and change that, and then I will forget about that resolution. I'm just being honest. I'm an earth sign. I get stubborn. I get stuck in my ways. So let's see what we can do here. All right. Something to do with a dog too. I'm not sure. For some people that are watching this, there could be something with a dog. But the anxiety thing definitely feels like there's something there. Anxiety, maybe others' expectations. Could be something that's going on there, because I was almost seeing someone raise their eyebrow like this. And maybe we're scared of what people would think of us. Maybe we're scared of expressing ourselves authentically, because the people that are around us, that we've built relationships with, that are around us, would not understand the authentic expression of ourselves. That could be another thing as well. But let's look here. Okay, 2 more shuffles. The anxiety. Okay. Well, hopefully, Julie, hopefully this helps to alleviate that just a little bit. I've noticed that whenever psychics or tarot readers can pick up on something, it starts to disintegrate whatever's going on. Deborah Katz, who has a book, You Are Psychic, she talks about every time we observe someone else's story through psychic ability, we're actually healing that person because we're putting energy on their story, and it starts to heal that part of them. So that can be something that can help too, just having verification or having, I think you know what I'm saying here. Okay, so let's look at these cards here. Okay, so underneath, oh, you got the book. Awesome, Moon Honey. Awesome. It's a good book. It's a really good book, especially for starting out in the psychic. So we have a clumsy person. That's me. Hi, how are you doing? I've been so clumsy today. I really shouldn't be a surgeon. I keep messing up. No, I'm just kidding. But we have Door to Value in reverse, and that's on the Moon card right here. Okay, so Door to Value in reverse, we feel like other people will not value our subconscious world, or other people will not value our symbolic world. Let me put that into layman's terms, okay? We feel that other people won't understand us at a core level. And so it's kind of like, why speak my truth if others can't quite hear what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm feeling here. Door to Value in reverse is saying, I feel like I have something to say, but nobody's around that will listen, or no one's around that can quite hear what I'm trying to say. And maybe we're someone who we feel like we're easily misunderstood, and so communication can even be more of a barrier, okay? And maybe we're not someone that was gifted with the gift of gab, okay? And that's a skill. That is a skill. Talking to people, being comfortable with people, that's a skill. You can learn it. It just takes time. It does. It takes time. I'm the most introverted person alive. I'll tell you that right now. I'm very, very introverted, very private person. So if I can learn to do this, I feel like a lot of other people can too. Okay, so then we have the Sun card in reverse with Judgment. Oh, there we go, with Judgment right here in reverse. Now, the Sun card with Judgment in reverse. Awesome, Julie, awesome. Okay, perfect. The Sun card in reverse, the Judgment in reverse, illuminating the path and maybe not wanting to take the path. Things happen in our life and we do not have to do anything. I sincerely believe that. The universe can give us tests and challenges and things like that, but I sincerely believe we do not have to do anything. We can observe, we can participate if we want to, but we don't have to. And so maybe part of us is feeling like we need to do something, but another part of us is saying, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. And that's okay. It's okay to not be comfortable. The reason I'm talking about that, Judgment is purpose. When Judgment is in reverse and the Sun is in reverse, we're not necessarily listening to what a higher calling would be. We don't have to do the higher calling. That's not what the tarot is trying to say. But it says that there is a possibility of a higher calling if we listen to it. Okay? Just like every person can learn to play the piano, right? Every single person can learn to play the piano. Well, maybe not every person. But, okay. People can learn to play the piano, right? But not every person that learns to play the piano is going to become I got to be careful how I say this, a concert pianist, okay? Not the other one, not the dirty one. They're going to become a concert pianist. And not everyone's going to do that. Likewise, with spiritual abilities or gifts, certain people are called to take action because they do have abilities. They have something going on there, but they don't quite know how to answer that call. That's something that can absolutely happen. So, but again, just because you have the gift, it does not mean you have to go after it. We're observers, primarily. At least that's what we should be, is observers in this world. Okay, so let's look at this one here. So this one's good. This one's a good one. I mean, the whole reading's good, right? It's our biases that make it good or bad. But we have the 8 of coins, okay? I always think of Maroon 5, the lead singer, when I see this card, because it kind of looks like that. He's going to follow the map that leads to you. But then we have the community card here. These 2 cards right here are saying that I feel like if we did express ourselves, if we did do something that maybe felt like it was our authentic selves, I do feel like it would be met well. Maybe not at first. Maybe there would be some holding back, but I do feel like there's a sense here where we hold in parts of ourselves or our personality or who we are as a person because we feel like we have to edit ourselves, right? And if we feel like we have to edit ourselves, then that right there is going to cause an issue. That's going to cause a pretty big issue. Okay, so this one, these cards here, this was for November 30th. Now, I'm trying to think here because, give me 1 second here, guys. If I can get my stuff to work, hold on. Okay. I'm going to look at the date here. Okay, so tomorrow is the 1st of December. Okay, I had to make sure it was the 1st tomorrow. Not the best with those kinds of numbers with calendars and stuff. So I'm going to put these cards over here, and then we're going to shuffle these cards up again, and I'll read for tomorrow as well. Let's see what we get here. Is it like this? Okay. All right. So let's look at tomorrow. I'll use a different deck here for the top cards. This deck is hard to shuffle, but it is very beautiful. It's what I was using in the thumbnail images. This is the True Black Tarot deck. Very gorgeous cards. And this is one of my favorite cards right here. They're just beautiful cards. Honestly, they're gorgeous cards. Okay, so let's see what we can get for these cards. And this will be for tomorrow's reading. Remember, if we do have anxiety, if we have things that we're working through, a lot of times when I'm anxious, when I have something I'm anxious about, generally there's some unused energy. There's something I haven't used. Maybe, go for a walk, do something that's grounding, do something that helps to take that edge off a little bit, and also cutting back on the caffeine. Okay. If that's something we feel like we can do, because caffeine can cause a lot of anxiety, at least with me. I've noticed that. On days where I'm feeling okay, I'll make me a second cup of coffee in the afternoon. But if I'm not, I'll still make myself a second cup of coffee. I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm not perfect at this. But it does definitely cause anxiety for me. Okay, so let's do this here. Shuffle these cards. Let's give these a couple more shuffles here. These are thick cards. Hard to shuffle. But the artwork is just too cool to not bring these guys out. So let's do this here. Okay, let's do one more shuffle. Let's do one more shuffle, one more one. Okay. Here we go. All right, so we're going to do one. This is for tomorrow. Okay, this is December 1st. And there's definitely a theme already going on with these cards, and I will show you guys. There's 2 colors that are primarily, prominently, poignantly showing up. So let's grab a couple more of these. I'm going to shuffle these ones, the Energy Oracle. Let's see what we can come up with here. Alrighty. Okay, it's okay now. I'm gonna actually do this again here, so hold on. I know I'm fiddling with my lights a little here, but I feel like you guys would too if you felt like you were a little washed out. That looks a little bit better. Okay. There we go. That looks nice. That looks a little nicer. All right, I'm just going to keep it like that. I feel like it looks a little bit better. All right, so let's shuffle these cards here and see what we can get. Energy Oracle, tell us what we need to know for December 1st, which apparently is tomorrow. Give us some good, accurate cards. Let's see what we can have here. Okay. First thing I'm hearing is tomorrow. Okay. These for me are a little more random when we're talking about psychic information. So tomorrow I heard the word back. This could mean something is coming back to us tomorrow. There could be something that's coming back. I heard it in a kind of a more calm way. So maybe we were expecting this, but there could be something coming back. Also, alternatively, it could literally mean maybe something happens to our back, or maybe something is going on with our back. And maybe tomorrow we could be a little more down physically. That could be something going on. Now, let's look at the actual reading part, because that was just psychic impressions. So we have the World card in reverse. Okay. Here's what it looks like upright. All right, the World card in reverse with Door to Romance right here. So when I see the World card in reverse, Door to Romance, talked about something coming back. There could be a person coming back in our lives, but where the World is in reverse, the person. Okay, so let me try and say this as interestingly as possible, because apparently I don't know how else to say it. So if someone does come back in our lives after they've left, okay, when I see the World card in reverse, this could be a love interest. There is Door to Romance down here, so more than likely it could be a love interest. But if I see the World in reverse, it could be that we could be going back into a relationship where maybe certain things were okay, but it was not something that worked out. It was not something that had a very strong connection. But there could be a fear of being alone. And so we're going with something that even though we don't like, at least we won't be lonely. Okay. That's kind of the energy that I'm getting. So there could be someone coming back that we did not get along with that well, and we're settling for them because we feel like, I deserve this person. Maybe they're my soulmate or this or that or blah, blah, blah. Okay. I do not believe that we're supposed to be in horrible relationships with soulmates just because they're soulmates. No, I think that's a load of shit. But I do believe that there's lessons we can learn from everyone we come in contact with, especially in a relationship. So when I see this, it's like, do we settle? Do we settle for someone who treats us lesser than? And I would say no. But each person has their own lessons to learn. And sometimes we keep going back to a connection over and over and over again until finally it clicks in our heads. I deserve more. I deserve better. And then that goes into something where we can start to have the strength to stand up for ourselves, and we can start developing boundaries, and then our relationships get better because of that. They don't get worse. People that are not nice people, they're the ones that make it a lot worse. If we're working on ourselves, things are going on. Anyway, let's look at this one. So then we get Chariot in reverse. Okay. All right. So you can almost see the dangly bits. Okay, not quite. You can't even do that to see them, but you can almost see them. Now, when we hold this one is in reverse, and then we have man holding a heart that's also in reverse. Okay. Man holding a heart in reverse with the Chariot in reverse could mean, trying to get the camera to focus back on me. It could mean that there could be a Cancer individual, so Cancer the sign, individual coming into our lives, right? When I see man holding a heart in reverse, though, it again kind of intensifies that feeling of possibly settling for less. We feel like we deserve less. We feel like there's this thing where we just don't deserve to have a partner that listens or communicates with us, or maybe this person checks off 2 of our 6 boxes and we're like, okay, that's good enough. And so in order to be in a relationship where we're respected and appreciated, we have to respect and appreciate ourselves first. To me, that's a pretty big one right there. And when we are respecting ourselves, when we're going into that kind of energy, so many awesome things can happen. So many great things can happen. But until we do, we're going to keep attracting the same kind of people that do not treat us well. Okay. All right. So let's look at this here. Let me take another drink. Okay. So then we have these cards here. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Okay. Queen of Pentacles. And then we have Happy Family in reverse. Okay. So Happy Family in reverse with Queen of Pentacles could mean that maybe we have a child with this person. Okay. And this person wants to come back. It could also mean that it could either be a water sign or an earth sign individual. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, or Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio person that could be coming into our lives. But where I see Happy Family in reverse, to me, it feels like it's a connection that's not going to be something that is necessarily regarded as being a positive or strong connection. It's going to be something that's more, I guess, like a distant connection, if that makes sense. Like it feels like someone that says they love you from afar, or someone that doesn't say I love you, but you're supposed to interpret that they do, right? You're supposed to just know that they love you. They don't need to say it. That kind of feels like the energy I'm talking about, this kind of stone energy where I feel like you're giving your all to something, but this stone-like energy refuses to budge. It refuses to become anything other than stone, right? And even when you carve stone, even when the stone is carved and it's beautiful, it is still a stone statue. And I feel like that could be relationships that we are getting into. There could be that kind of scenario here. Also, I'm feeling, when I say feeling, or when I say seeing, okay, I'm talking about psychic impression. So this has nothing to do with the cards. But I'm feeling that we're talking about maybe an icy individual would be the way we could describe them. Icy, cold, distant kind of an individual. And so that's kind of the energy I'm seeing here. A lot of times in relationships, the dynamic is the distant person, they keep running away, and the other person, the different, because there's different, what do you call it? Different relationship styles, I guess would be the way I would describe that. There's different relationship styles, and those styles determine how we act in relationships. And generally that comes from when we were little. So the man generally is the one that's very distant and he's always running. And the woman is wanting connection. She's seeking security from the partner, and she's wanting to get more and more of a connection with the partner. But the male, right? And this can be male or female. Either one can happen, of course. But the male is being distant. And the more distant the male becomes, the more kind of the woman will chase. And then eventually the woman gets very tired of it because she's not feeling appreciated, because she's not, right? We're with this distant person. If you want to have someone who's more secure and can show emotions, we have to work on that. We have to see what that actually looks like for us. So that's kind of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this. So let's look at some other cards though. Well, actually, this was the end here. So until we get people coming in here and wanting to do some readings, I can just talk. Talkity. So it's $10 a question, $25 for 3 questions. We can also do energy work as well. And you can also save money on questions if you become a member of the channel. You guys can look at that down below. I just barely instated memberships, and so it's like a monthly fee you guys can pay, and you'll get discounts on questions or even free questions, depending on how much you guys donate each month. Okay, another drink of the coffee here, and then we're going to do some psychic work, and we'll see what we can come up with here. Okay. First thing I'm getting right when I put this down is like a sense of smelling something, but not being able to smell. So there could be, maybe we're sick, COVID symptoms, something like that could absolutely be going on. But I'm feeling like there could be a sense of strength that is shifting as well. Okay. Let me see what else I can get here, because I know that seems kind of vague. Some people that are watching this after the fact, or if you guys tune in later and you're seeing this, please let me know if that makes sense to you. But if not, that's okay too, right? But let's see. So the name Andrew comes up, and then the name Hannah also comes up, which is interesting. So I'm just throwing those two out there. Hannah and Andrew coming up here. Okay, I'm going to circle those just because. Okay. And then if there was people here that wanted to know more, I would dive a little bit deeper. But right now, no one's wondering anything, so I'm just going to keep going. So we have this going on here. We have I'm seeing a spider, and you guys know on this channel, I do enjoy the symbology of spiders. Do not like spiders themselves, but I do enjoy the symbology of them, because to me, they represent the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Okay. The spider has action. It creates its web, which is the divine masculine. And then it has, I'm going to do this here. Okay. So the spider has masculine, which is it creating its web, right? But then there's the divine feminine. Divine masculine is it's creating its web. Divine feminine is it waiting. The spider is waiting. And it trusts that the universe will give it food. It trusts that something will come along. The spider doesn't worry. It doesn't fret, right? You've never seen an anxious spider like waiting for food and not quite getting it. But it trusts that the universe is going to give it something. It trusts in that process. And so that's a good kind of energy to have. And that could be something that we're dealing with. That could definitely be something that we're dealing with. I feel like in the next few days, it feels like I'm seeing spider, and then I'm seeing the number 8. So maybe there's something that's happening on December 8th. That could be something. But there could be also sort of this feeling of needing to wait, needing to hold back on our intentions. And that one's interesting to me, because it's like I feel like things are manifesting, but we're deciding to take a step back for whatever reason. Okay. All right. So let me see what else we can get here. I'm going to get into an energy here, and then we're just going to go a little bit deeper. But I'm also going to hold up some cards, and we'll see what we can come up with. So let's do this. Let's draw one card, and then I'm going to go into the psychic feelings that I'm getting from that card. All right, let's do this. Let's do one more shuffle here. Okie dokie here. I think those lights in the background are making it so the camera's having trouble focusing. So I'm going to turn those lights off. Just give me 1 second here. Okay. Then again, we're going to fiddle with the lights. Okay, and you guys can let me know. Are you getting your Christmas shopping done now? I'm getting mine done now because it's not all the way done, but I'd say I got at least maybe 50% of it done. I feel like getting it done as early as possible means there's going to be less shipment delays and stuff like that because you just don't know. You don't know what's going to be going on here. So let's do this. Let me mess with my lights one more time. Okay, I think that's about as good as I'm going to get here. All right. Okay, so let's see what we can get. So we're going to draw one card. And then from that one card, we're going to be able to see what psychic impressions we get here. And I'll explain to you kind of how the process works. So psychic impressions that we're talking about, they are thoughts that are not thoughts. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So a psychic impression is being able to have a fully formed thought kind of placed in your head when there wasn't anything there before. That's why having a clear mind is important for psychic development. Because when our mind is clear, when a thought comes in, we know that it's not us thinking it. But we have to have a clear mind. We have to have a still mind. We have to quiet the chatter, so to speak. So let's see what information we get here. All we're dealing with psychic, with just living in general, the only thing that is a constant is experience and information. Those are two things that are always kind of coming into our world, is experience and information. So when we're talking about psychic ability or expression, that's what we're talking about. So let's look at these cards and see what we can get here. So again, we have the Chariot. Okay. All right. So look at this card here. There's two horses kind of opposing each other, black and white. And then there's a person up top that's black and white. And then the card split in half with black and white energy. So black and white is the unionizing or wanting to unionize anything that you can think of, the conscious, the subconscious, right? Or it could be energy that's trying to hurry up and blend. I'm trying to get that camera. There we go. It could be energy that's trying to hurry up and blend and integrate itself with us. So like I've been saying, it could be the spiritual energy that we're talking about. But let's see what psychic impressions we get here. So first thing that I'm getting when I see this card is, well, let's do this. I'm getting the word mind that comes in. The word mind is interesting because it can actually mean a few things. But in this case, I'm talking about it in more of a spiritual context. So the Chariot is a card of hurry, 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 hurry. That can be the card that we can describe the Chariot as. It's fast-moving energy, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean hurry, but how I would see it is it's kind of a hurry card because it's saying that no matter which direction we go in, there's going to be a rush. There's going to be something that bursts through kind of the blockages, the things that we've been going through. It's a very powerful card, and it's a major arcana. Again, Chariot is corresponding to Cancer, okay? This is the Cancer card, all right? Each of the zodiac signs is represented in one of the cards of the major arcana, with some exceptions. I understand some of them, but not all. So we have the word mind that comes in, and it could be that we're struggling to make up our mind. There could be two opposing elements. There could be two things coming up, and this is known as cognitive dissonance, okay? Cognitive dissonance is where we believe two ideas to be true, and we haven't quite made up our mind. They're two completely opposite ideas. We believe both of them to be true. And until we make up our mind, we're going to feel very confused, and we're going to feel kind of separated and spaced out in our normal life because we're trying to understand what we believe is the truth. Okay, so these can be as simple as this fact versus that fact kind of a thing, or it can be completely, spiritual concepts. It can be trying to understand the world in different ways. And maybe we're stuck in the middle and we believe two things to be true that are absolutely opposing. And so until we've made a choice and we go with that choice, we're going to be in this state of, well, these two horses, this person, they're just standing there. When I look at this card, I don't see movement. I don't. Instead, what I see is someone who would want movement, but it's going in two different directions here. Okay. And last I checked, when it goes in two different directions, you need to call a doctor. Anyway, but this right here, the Chariot, is a card of action. Okay. Now, the other thing I'm getting with this card, the Chariot card, is the word barrier. So there could be a barrier of some sort. This feels to me, though, like it could be a self-imposed barrier where we're dealing with the Eight of Swords kind of energy. We could be putting something up and telling ourselves that we can't do it because of this, or this reason, but really we could do it if we wanted to. So there could be a part of us that's holding ourselves back from doing something that we want to do just because it would be too scary to take risks, to take a chance, pardon the pun. But that's what I'm seeing here. That's definitely what I'm seeing here. Let me see what other cards we can get here. This is the Two of Cups, okay? Two of Cups is interesting. It usually, Two of Cups, at least primarily from what I've known, it usually shows two people of opposite genders. It's representing duality, so male, female, light, dark, stuff like that. The two cards represent duality. But in this card, it represents a union. It can represent a union. When I see these two cards together, there's a lot of energy here, but something is holding us back. So there could be a connection that's coming into us. There could be a connection that's coming toward us. And maybe we feel that this connection is maybe it feels too safe. Maybe it feels too boring. I'll let you in on a secret. If the relationship feels boring and safe, okay, it could be the reason why it feels boring and safe is because you're used to dysfunction. You're used to dysfunctional relationships. And if something feels boring and safe and there's no drama, this person isn't pressing your buttons all the time, that can be a sign that that could be the right person, right? Because we shouldn't always feel like we're in danger, or we shouldn't always feel like we have to fight just to feel heard or seen. That shouldn't be something we have to do. But in a lot of ways, we view love as this very, very hard thing with insufferable people, which can absolutely be true, but there should be some breaks given here. So if we are addicted to dysfunction, that's going to kind of, change our view. That's going to skew us just a tiny bit. Okay, so the Two of Cups. I'm going to hold this one up again. Like there's two people, both of them are reaching their arms out. They're getting ready to collect what looks like it's falling down from the universe. Kind of a, how would you say it? Like they're receiving a gift, right? So this right here is telling me that maybe we need to work on, again, how we view relationships, how we view the emotional. That to me is going to be something that's going to help us a ton. When we can be comfortable in a relationship and there's a sense of ease and flow, that means generally that we're comfortable with ourselves. And if we're comfortable with ourselves, the relationship gets better too. So there has to be some kind of give and take. Sometimes, though, it's just give and give. And when we're in that kind of relationship, or just take and take, when we're in that kind of relationship, it will fall apart. There will be a partner that leads to having burnout, so to speak. Okay. All right, so let's look at some of these other cards here. I'm going to shuffle a little bit more, and we'll see what we can come up with here. These right here are just kind of general readings. If you guys want a more specific reading for you, I promise it'll be accurate. It'll be good. We'll get the good stuff. $10 a question, 3 questions for $25. And yeah, so you guys let me know if that's something you're comfortable with. All right. Let's do 2 more shuffles here. I keep feeling an 8 card. We'll see if an 8 card comes up here. But I'm feeling like there's either an 8 or a 4. But we'll see. All right, there's the cards. And we have Judgment again coming up. This time it's upright, though. So let's look at that, okay? This is really interesting because we have the Judgment, like I've shown you guys before. It looks like someone is trapped inside of a trumpet and wrapped in a blanket, and they're trying to get out, which I don't know if you've ever been in that situation. It's not fun. Not fun to be trapped in a trumpet and a blanket. I wouldn't recommend it. But we have the Judgment card here, which represents higher purpose. It represents a calling. And almost when I see this card, because I go into the psychic realm, the mediumship realm, mediums used to have, not used to, it still is going on to this day, but mediums, when they hit a certain spiritual development point, instead of having subjective experiences where only the medium is experiencing the spiritual world, the medium can start to bring through evidence of a loved one or someone who has passed on in a physical way. These are called physical mediums. And by today's standards, they are pretty rare. They're not, I believe a lot of people are physical mediums, but because of development, because of how long it usually takes, sometimes 10 years, sometimes longer, to develop physical mediumship, it just takes a lot of time. But I believe there's people that are out there, but they just don't know it, in my opinion. The reason I'm bringing that up is because the physical mediums have this kind of material kind of come out of their mouth. It's ectoplasm is what it's called, okay? And when this comes out of the medium's mouth, it comes out in these sheets, kind of like these, it almost looks like cheesecloth, you know, if you guys can think what that looks like. It's a mixture of cloth and cheese. So if you guys can imagine that. But the medium, the physical medium, would have a trumpet. And this trumpet would be what would produce the spirit voice. So out of the medium, there would come this thing that looks like a trumpet, okay? And they called that, you know, the medium's trumpet or the physical. But anyway, it was the spirit's voice box to be able to speak. So the medium would go into a very deep trance-like state. They would no longer be conscious. Their consciousness would be off somewhere else. And then this ectoplasmic trumpet would form, and it would create the voice box of whatever spirit wanted to speak through it. So this created a physical voice box so that there could be physical sound that would not be coming from the medium. And this person that would be coming out in this way could give evidential messages. They could give messages to their loved ones, and it would even sound like the person. It would sound like the person who had passed on. Like it gives them vocal cords. It gives them a voice. So really interesting stuff. Sorry, I went on a tangent there. It's interesting stuff, though, at least to me. Okay, so let's see what else we have here. So with Judgment, higher spiritual calling, higher spiritual purpose. When I see it upright like this, it could be that we're listening to the message. But it could be we're listening to the message, but maybe things are happening too quickly, or we feel like things are happening too quickly. What we don't realize we can do is we can say, slow down. We can tell the spirit world, we can tell people, slow down, because it's time for us to take our time, right? If we listen to what everyone else has to say, we're never going to get anywhere. We have to listen to our own voice. And this could be something where we're starting to develop boundaries. We're starting to develop our own voice. And because of that, we're starting to find out who we are. Okay. And as weird as it sounds, finding yourself, I don't believe we need to find ourselves. I don't believe that. I believe we need to kind of unbury ourselves. I believe we need to step out of the rubble, so to speak. I think we're right there. I think our soul, I think our personality. I think everything is hidden underneath what society tried to tell us that we weren't, and we need to get out. We need to get out of that, and we need to unlearn. Every time we unlearn something that society taught us through very difficult life lessons, we become more and more authentically ourselves. But until we go through that unlearning process, it's hard for us to understand ourselves. It's hard for us to know who we are on any level, because how can you know who you are on any level if you don't know who you are, right? But as soon as we have that, as soon as we go back and we unbury ourselves, we're going to find that it's a lot easier to know what direction we need to go in life, because we know who we are. And we're not listening to what our friends or our family is telling us to do. We're listening to what we want to do. We're listening to ourselves. And some of us had our voice taken away at a very young age. We had our identity taken away at a very young age. But now we can reclaim it. We can start to do the things we want to do and realize that we are safe to do so. And other people, if they have a problem with it, well, sucks to be them, right? Generally, people that have a problem with your own sense of expression or growth are people that either are jealous or narcissistic, or they're this or they're that, but they don't have your best interest at heart. You do. You have your best interest at heart. And as you find that moving forward, that'll work a lot better for you. So another drink of coffee here. Hold on. So I'm ready to take questions, the paid questions, if you guys have any. $10 for one question, 3 questions for 25. In the meantime, though, if we want, we can just chat here. But let's look at this. Okay. All right. So now here's something interesting. As soon as I saw the 5 of Cups, Scorpio, it was something that came up in my head. So again, 5 of Cups doesn't necessarily mean Scorpio. That's a psychic impression from me. So if you're watching another tarot reader and they get the 5 of Cups and they don't say Scorpio, I try to combine both. How I'm feeling, what's going on there. 5 of Cups, I'm getting Scorpio energy, and then for some reason, twin energy. There could be some twin energy going on here. It could be Scorpio, it could be Gemini. Now, with this card here, the 5 of Cups, it can be realizing some difficult emotional truths. So maybe something happened. Well, not maybe, it did happen. Something happened. And we need to find out what the truth is behind all of this. We need to find out what's going on. Until we find out, we're not going to know. Okay. And it's an emotional truth, right? And generally, we're emotionally involved with either family, friends, or a significant other. Okay. So those are the 3 kind of areas I would think would be something going on. You could also look at it as like the death of a pet. That could be something as well. But in my opinion here, it's something that deals with more human relationships. Okay. All right. So let's see what kind of psychic impressions we get from this. So I'm going to take I've got my iPad here, my handy dandy notebook. Okay. And I just scribble, and I don't know how it works like this, but the vibration from the scribble makes it so that I can get messages. Okay. It's not like I hear it necessarily, but it's like I can interpret it because I can scribble, and doesn't make a ton of sense, but for me it does. Okay. So let's try doing this here and see what we get. So 5 of Cups, and I'm also feeling energy around my ears. I'm wearing my ears a little bit different today, thought I would, but there is a sense of dense energy that's around my face. As I'm talking, I'm feeling the sense of something like a wall coming up here. So there could be something here where maybe we're dealing with someone with this 5 of Cups energy. We're dealing with someone who's very resistant to hearing what we have to say, or doing what's called stonewalling, where a person tries to give you the gift of absence. Okay. Not a fun gift to receive, but that's generally what I'm talking about here. Someone could be punishing us by withdrawing their presence and waiting for us to beg or plead for them to come back. That can be a tactic that can go on here too. So let's move on here and let's see what else we can get. So let me start scribbling here. Brookside was something that came up. Brookside. I don't know if that's I don't know what that's necessarily referring to. Okay. Here was another one that came up. So we're talking about snake energy. And as I'm talking about snakes, I know a lot of us are thinking, oh man, snakes, they're creepy. They're weird. They're just big worms. Okay. They're just giant worms with tongues. That does sound terrifying, though, I'll be honest. But as we're talking about snakes, snakes represent something that's really interesting. Snakes represent knowledge and wisdom. Okay. Snakes also represent the ability to start over new. When a snake sheds its skin, it's starting over new. It's ready to go out there. It's ready to do its thing. But that could be something that we're talking about as well. So it could be emotionally reinventing ourselves to find who we are, like I've said many times. And if that's the case, if we are going through this kind of emotional upheaval, or we're shedding our skin, so to speak, right now could be a very, very sensitive time in our lives. And it's important for us to lean into that sensitivity. When we're talking about healing, or we're talking about feeling whatever it is we need to feel or heal or whatever, okay, it's important for us to realize that we have to feel it. We have to allow ourselves to feel however it is we're feeling. For instance, yesterday, I was upset, okay? And rather than gaslighting myself would be telling myself, no, I'm not upset, I'm happy, right? So rather than gaslighting myself, I let myself be upset. I tried not to take it out on other people, but I let myself be upset because I needed that. I needed to be upset. Or if you're sad, allow yourself to be sad. Basically express yourself. Okay. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, you should be able to express yourself just fine. Okay. We're having a bad day. We're having a bad day. None of this toxic positivity bullshit, because that doesn't help anybody. I'm talking about expressing ourselves. Okay. So now that I had my little man fit, okay. But that's important. And that's going to help you discover so much. Okay, so let's do this here, and let me see what else I can get. I'm going to change the color here. There we go. I like this. I'm going with more of a fall color here. We're going with a kind of an, what do you call it? Like an auburn, like a deep auburn orange color. I don't know if I could show you on the camera, but I'll try. Because I can fill this with a little color and go like that. Okay, so that's the kind of color we're going to be using here. It doesn't show up on the camera. It really doesn't. It looks more red. It's a kind of a deeper orange, like a Starbucks pumpkin spice orange, if you guys can imagine that. I'm sure you can. Pumpkin spice is everywhere. It's invading absolutely everything. So yeah, I'm sure you guys can understand that. Okay, so let's draw another card here and see what we can get. Okay. So this card here, I know I said an 8 card was coming up, and sometimes depending on the tarot, the strength card, which is what we drew here, can either be 11 or 8. I've generally seen it as 11 or 8. I think in the Rider-Waite, the original tarot that I'm aware of, I think the strength card was an 8. I'm not absolutely positive, but it can be an 8 or an 11 usually. Okay, so there's the strength card, and I drew this in reverse. Okay. All right. Strength card in reverse. This is going to be a card of maybe going after something too hard, right? Focus on me. There we go. If we chase after something too much, we're telling the universe that we don't already have what it is that we want. Okay. For instance, if we stop and we allow things to come to us, it's going to be ours for a lot longer. But if we feel like we have to keep chasing things, we have to struggle and struggle and struggle to achieve something, that's going to make it so that we have this lack of mentality. And when we're living in a lack of mentality, we're not going to see the beauty. We're not going to appreciate what's around us. And in turn, we're going to have more of a lack of mentality. So we need to take a step back and realize that it's okay. It's okay for us to have that mentality for a time. But eventually, I feel like we would want to be in a place where we're feeling like we would want to have success. We're feeling like it's okay for us to have success. And that's what I'm talking about here. Just the thought of being okay with having success. And that one, for me personally, that's been a hard one. Because it's kind of saying to the universe in no ambiguous terms, you're saying to the universe that you're ready. You're ready for something. And sometimes that's a scary thing. That is a scary thing to put ourselves out there, even just to say we're ready. We're ready, or we're getting ready to go. But yeah. Okay, let me look at something really quick, guys. Every now and again, you're going to see me holding a burp on camera. That's just going to be how it is. Okay. All right. So let's see what else we can get here. Hey, Kiru, how are you doing? How's everything going? Happy to see you on here. Okay. Good and bad. That sounds right for most situations. But at least there's some good. At least there's some good. I like that there's some good. Awesome. Awesome. Did you celebrate did you celebrate Thanksgiving at all? I'm not sure if that's something you celebrate or not. Because I'll tell you right now, not this year. Okay. And that may not be a bad thing. Having a bunch of family members that only see each other one time of year and argue with each other for most of the weekend, that may not be the funnest thing to go through. At least that's how my family is, right? There's always a little bit of something every Thanksgiving. Yeah. So not the funnest, and I'll tell you right now, Kiru, you probably didn't miss out on anything. Exactly, no need for it. There doesn't need to be a need for it. I like peace. Basically, if you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, and you see how Bill, let's see, which one is it? The Hobbit. If you've ever seen The Hobbit, I am Bilbo Baggins. Okay. I don't. Everything else to me is the dwarves coming in and overtaking everything, and that's how it was. I like privacy. I like everything to be. I like everything to be calm, peaceful. I have the doctor's appointment on Friday, by the way. Okay, good. I'm glad you got an appointment scheduled. I'm glad you got the appointment scheduled. So what is it specifically? Because we've talked about a few things, but what is it specifically you're going to the doctor for, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah, going to the doctor is never fun. The joint issues. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, that can be a scary kind of thing here. Is it? Do you have? Because we talked about this. I'm wondering if it's maybe a buildup. I understand you don't want bad news. I can understand that. There's a lot, though. There's a lot that can be done nowadays. I'm almost wondering if it's a buildup of uric acid that could possibly be causing the joint issues. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But Specifically, do you have anything in like your toes? That would be like the uric acid and gout, but I'm just curious here because there could be something going on that way. Because I remember you said there was pain. Okay. Okay. Yeah, ask about the uric acid or whatever it happens to be. That would be something I feel like would be good because sometimes it could just be that. And a lot of times I feel like changes in the diet can help too with a lot of this kind of stuff. Yeah, so that would be something you can look into. And I understand, Kiru, I understand being scared. And you're absolutely, not that you need me to say anything, but you're absolutely okay to say that you're scared. I can understand. You want to have something. You want to have something where it's good news. So I can definitely understand that. All anti-inflammatory foods for the last 6 months. Okay. Okay. That's good. The anti-inflammatory is good. What about Kiru? Have you stayed? This is just a suggestion, right? Because I had horrible heartburn for maybe 2 years. Like it got to the point where it was ridiculous. And I was even taking anti-heartburn medication, like religiously. Every day I would take 2 pills, one in the morning, one at night. And but something that I did that helped with my pain is I stopped eating any grains, and I got off of sugar of any kind. I don't know if that's something you've done, but if you don't have sugar and you're not eating processed grains, that can help with the inflammation in the body too, because sugar really inflames things. You've probably already tried that, and I also lost, it's about 32 pounds in 2 months, 2.5 months. So little diet changes can help, but yeah, I don't know if you've tried that already. And you said, I know astrologically things are supposed to be better since November. So I would say try that. My theory, Kiru, is going to be, yeah, that would be hard to avoid grains, wouldn't it? Okay. Do you eat the foods that are mostly Indian foods? Do you eat them socially? Is it a social thing and that's why you eat them? I imagine you eat them privately too, but if there's some way that you could limit that, that would help. Just because I've heard that the body just can't digest grains that well. Not usually. But I can understand. It's your daily meals. Okay. So, yeah, that would be hard. That would be hard to stop. My partner, right? She makes a keto bread, and that's the interesting part. Is that so when basically what I'm talking about is the keto lifestyle, because for me it worked. But you can make bread. I'm not sure if rice is. Yeah, rice is, especially if it's white rice. That can raise your insulin, and that could be something, Kiru, that you're going through is insulin resistance. And if we're talking about insulin resistance, generally speaking, when someone is in insulin resistance, their insulin it can be 7 to 10 times higher than a normal person. And so if we're trying to have, like, the body swells up, things can happen because our insulin resistance is going on. And so there's a lot that goes into it, but getting off of grains, eventually you don't crave them anymore. Right now, your body is probably, I'm just going to say this, if it's wrong, it's wrong, but right now your body is probably craving grains because it's using that as a fuel source. So it's using carbs as a fuel source to power itself. Eventually, though, we can make it so that we're no longer using carbs to fuel the body, and our body will start burning its fat reserves. And when it starts doing that, our organs start operating better too, because we can have fatty liver. We can have fat that's literally just stored around the liver. Okay, that's good. Your blood sugar was okay. That's really good. But I'm just saying here for like anti-inflammatory stuff, that's definitely helped me. And my heartburn, oddly enough, doing some simple things helps my heartburn. And like I said, I've lost 30 pounds in 2 months, and I had a bunch of weird little issues, especially in my joints too. I definitely had joint issues as well. Not really bad, but enough. But eventually your body doesn't even crave the grains anymore. And for me, I do, I have a hard time saying this word, especially on camera, intermittent fasting. Yeah, heartburn sucks. I'm just going to say it. Pardon my French or whatever, language, but heartburn, it's not fun. And this helped my heartburn. I still get it occasionally, but it's not nearly as bad. It's like scary. It was scary bad for me. Like you just want to hold on tight. Another drink here. Hold on. Okay, so I'll have to look up the recipe. I use my partner, my girlfriend makes keto bread, right? And it's not the gross kind. I know people talk about the cloud bread and stuff like that. This is an actual like bread substitute that we use, and it's completely keto. It has tons of fiber in it, which is, that's good for the body. It's got tons of protein. And I'll have to look up the recipe, but that's what we use instead. But eventually, like I said, your body does not crave carbs. I've been doing this almost 3 months, and I have had one, what we would call a relapse, right? I ate the fast food, or I did whatever. I did not feel good after I did that. And I realized that the keto, for me at least, works well. But yeah, primarily and I know it sounds hard. When I say no grains, I also mean little carbs as well. So that means no potatoes, right? Or a very small amount of potatoes, because potatoes will also spike the blood sugar. They'll also spike the insulin resistance. White rice will spike insulin resistance. Even brown rice spikes it, right? Generally, you want to have like fats like avocados and cheese and heavy cream. And then you want to have proteins. And you kind of want to get the fatty stuff. I mean, in your culture, though, I imagine, I don't know if you eat beef or not, but that's something that I use. And you want to get the fattiest kind you can get, because lean proteins can also spike blood sugar. But you just want to stay under 20. Okay, you want to stay under 20 to 50 carbs a day. Your body goes into what's called ketosis. When it's in that state, then your body starts burning off the excess fat. It starts burning off a bunch of stuff that's not needed, and then you'll start to feel better overall, right? You're not a vegetarian, but you don't eat too much of it. So avocados would be good. Cheese is good. And anything like nuts are good too. Certain nuts are better than others. But basically, you want to keep your carb count low. And that should help with the inflammation in your body, because generally your body is inflamed because something is saying, hey, this isn't working. And joint issues, to me, it sounds like it could be uric acid, but okay, good. Okay. So you wouldn't necessarily do keto to lose weight, from what I'm understanding, which is a side effect of it. But you could do it to stay kind of where you're at. And also, this is an interesting one too. Intermittent fasting, right? And I know that's probably a hard thing to express or explain. Hold on one second. Hold on one second here. Okay. Right. And I can understand that. Not afford to lose any weight at all. So I can definitely understand that. So then I would say, hey, JPG, how are you doing? I would say maybe the intermittent fasting isn't something you need, but I would say, Kiru, try for 3 days. Okay. Log what you eat, try for about 3 or 4 days, and see if you can go 20 to 50 carbs a day. And from there, see how you feel after that 3 or 4 days, because sometimes I really do believe the body, it's inflamed because it's trying to tell us something, and the food that we eat has a lot to do with how we feel. As much as we Hey, JPG, so I do $10 a question or $25 for 3 questions. So if you would want to, we can go that route, but I don't do free readings. But welcome to the channel, JPG. But yeah, try it, Kiru, and just see how you feel. Now here's kind of the funny part, and it's not funny in the way that we'll laugh about it, but if your body does go into ketosis, you can experience flu-like symptoms. And I understand you've already been feeling sick. The flu-like symptoms are only for a couple days, usually, and sometimes it's only for a day. It usually doesn't last too long. And then after you're over that period, you're going to feel a lot better. But I'd say there's no harm in trying. There's no harm in trying to cut the carbs out, cut the grains out and see how that makes you feel. Because you've tried other things, it sounds like, and you're eating the food. But what I'm thinking is happening is you're eating these healthy foods that are supposed to help with inflammation, but your body is probably not able to absorb those foods. Because if the inflammation is as bad as you're saying, then your body probably can't absorb the foods that you're eating that are supposed to be anti-inflammatory, because maybe it's too kind of congested, if that makes any sense. Again, this is just me talking. This is not doctor advice. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a doctor, but yeah. So I'd say give it a shot and see. Because if we can't absorb the nutrients, then we're going to be kind of screwed, so to speak. I've done some research on this, and at least for me, it's helping me feel better, right? And so then I'm going to give that to you guys if it's something you want to try, because no harm in trying it. I'm not selling you anything. I'm just saying don't eat carbs for a couple days and then see how you feel. So go for it. But also, Kiru, I'm going to say this. Feel free, if you trust your doctor. It's going to sound weird. Feel free to talk about it. But if you look at, because I think you're in the United States, Chicago, if I can remember right, I'm not sure, but in America, again, if that's where you're at, they do not necessarily recommend the kind of diet that I'm talking about. In fact, they say that it causes illness instead of cures it. And so if your doctor is cool and they're more progressive, then they would be someone who could possibly see the legitimacy of this. But some doctors have been promoting the keto diet or the lifestyle, and they've had their licenses taken away because they're promoting something. And if you look at success stories, people have gotten off of medications, people have reversed type 2 diabetes, people have, just stopped having to take all these medications. And so it's something that, depending on the doctor, if he's a progressive doctor, I feel like he would say, give it a shot, try it out. But you do you and see how you feel. But like right here, Kiru, if you go on to basically like any website that talks about the food pyramid, you'll notice that grains are the things that they promote the most. They say we should have a ton of grains, right? And that seems kind of suspicious. There is no essential carbohydrate or grain that we actually need, but it is pushed heavily because that's what's made in the United States. There's tons of grain. And so what do? You put that in everything. You put that as fillers in food, and then you say we need it. So that's something that could be going on there as well. So check out, if you want to, Kiru, check out a movie called, let me make sure I got this right. Okay. Okay, so here it is right here. There's a movie called Fat Fiction. Okay, that's what it looks like. The picture of the title there. Fat Fiction. Check that out, and you'll notice they talk about how saturated fats aren't bad for us. They talk about how sugar is awful. But the saturated fat myth, the myth that if you eat saturated fats, you'll get fat, right? It's complete bullshit. Because I can tell you right now, like I said, I lost like 32 pounds in 2 months, and I feel great. I feel absolutely fine. And I've been eating high fat foods, like pretty damn high fat foods, and I've been fine. But yeah, so look into it if that's something you want to do, and check it out. Just give it a shot, check it out, and see what's going on. And if you feel like you need to ask your doctor, I'd say go for it. But realize at some point they do have their skin in the game, so to speak. Like, that's kind of how it is, unfortunately. But hopefully that helps, Kiru. Okay. And the main thing that I would say more than anything else is I don't feel like there's any harm in just trying it out, and seeing, because a lot of this is kind of like you discover it yourself. And I feel like and especially in American culture, we're told what to eat, how to do this, and what to do. But look at the obesity rates in America. Look at all these different factors that have led to America being one of the most obese nations ever, like morbidly obese. And I have a feeling the food pyramid and the guidelines that we have, and also the food that people continue to buy, that's not helping the case. Okay, if we were slim, trim, and looked good, all of us, then I would say maybe it's something else, but there's an epidemic going on. And people aren't feeling good. People aren't feeling the best. Okay, so but let me know what your doctor says when you go and see them, and hopefully the news is good, right? Hopefully the news comes back and you can do something about it. You can try to get this under control, because joint pain, I would imagine that's awful. And especially, I don't know if the barometric pressure, the weather outside, I don't know if that hurts it, but I would imagine it doesn't help it. Yes, exactly. It's totally the opposite of the diet here. So yeah, I will, Kiru. I'll definitely keep those good vibes coming your way. Absolutely. Okay. right, so if anyone watching has a question, one question for 10 or 3 questions for 25. I started a new job on Monday and I'm so scared I didn't even get excited when I got the job. Well, I'm thinking, Kiru, that things will be okay. I'm thinking things will be okay. Try and center yourself as much as you can. I know there's anxiety. I know there's things going on there, but try and center yourself as much as you can, and ground yourself. Grounding exercises can help too. I understand we're scared. This is kind of a big deal, right? But if we breathe and we allow ourselves to relax just a little bit, that's going to go a long way. Or do something to take our mind off of it would be another thing. Whenever I'm feeling really anxious, sometimes I don't do anything about it. I need to work on that. But other times, going for a walk, doing something that's grounding and getting our mind off of thinking about future events and focusing more on the present circumstances. Because regardless, Friday, whether we worry about it or we don't, it's still going to take just as long to get here as any other day. And so it's good for us to be gentle with ourselves, maybe take a walk, do something that helps us to feel more connected to the earth, because the earth can help get rid of some of that excess anxiety too. Okay. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. And I can understand that. And if you do yoga and you do these practices, it'll be good to have someone else's viewpoint. It'll be good to have someone else's viewpoint on this. And hopefully from there we can take a sigh of relief, right? We can go, whew, wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But I can understand if you're feeling scared, if you're feeling, it's a lot. And I can definitely understand. But again, I'm hoping it's good news. I'm hoping it's really good news. And I'm hoping maybe you find something out that's good. Best case scenario, in my opinion, would be they see that there's some issue and then they can fix it, right? That would be a good scenario to be in. Like, it would stink that there's an issue, but it'd be awesome if there was a solution to the issue, because then you would eventually have some relief. So that could be something to look forward to instead of something to dread. It's kind of like they're finding a solution to a problem rather than finding a problem in a solution, so to speak. But that to me wouldn't be too bad of a deal. It would stink. It would stink if they found something, but at the same time, if they know how to treat it, things like that. Sounds good. That sounds good to me, right? But I think, yeah, it's okay to feel scared, feel nervous, to feel uneasy in these kinds of situations. I am not a fan of the doctor myself. Hey, Haley, how are you doing? But yeah. I can understand. I can definitely understand. Medical institutions of any kind give me the heebie-jeebies, in case you're wondering what I mean by that. But yeah, not my favorite place. Especially don't like shots. Not my thing. Not my, no. It's like being stabbed, but only a little bit. And I don't want to be stabbed at all. So, that's just a me thing. But yeah. Just getting this Let me get this colored in here. I'm almost wondering if I turn this up a little bit. There we go. Nope. Yeah, that was at the start of the... I didn't do weekly. I just did yesterday and today. It's interesting, though, because I did pick up on anxiety being a main factor going on there. I also got something with the socket or the joints, too. But it was like a hyperextending of something. I don't know if you've had hyperextending of one of your joints or anything like that, but it felt like there was some pain and some issues revolving around pain a little bit. I picked up on that. But right now, I'm just getting ready to take some questions. If someone has a question, $10 for one question, or three questions for $25. But yeah, I'm just getting in that mode here. I'm going to do some more reading here in just a second. If there's no one that wants to have a personal question asked, I'll do some more reading here. But I'm just finishing this up here. There we go. I'm working on a little thing here. Shoot. You know what? It's for another time. Okay. So let's do this, guys. I'm going to move this over here, and let's look at some cards. Let's actually do this. Let's look at the energy for the week, because I didn't actually do a weekly energy reading. So let's do that right now. I did 2 days, but let's look at the energy for the week. Let's see what we can come up with here. All right. Let's do a couple more shuffles here. Okay, one more shuffle. And if you guys can remember to like and subscribe on the video, it does help out quite a bit. And tickle the little bell icon notification down there. Give it a little tickle, and you'll know every time I go live. And then you can ignore it whenever you want. So that's always fun. Okay, so let's look at the weekly reading here. So I'm going to do this one, and this one. And then I'm going to shuffle these cards. Energy Oracle. What other deck am I going to use, you guys? You know I never change decks, ever. So here you go. Let's do this. So what do we need to know for the energy of the week? Moving into, well, starting to move into December, starting tomorrow. What do we need to know for the energy of the first week of December, moving forward? All right, here we go. We have, okay. Wow, okay. Let's look at this. Let's see what we get here. Feels like I cut my thumb, but I can't see a cut. Hey, Hazel. She has to come in here and headbutt my leg to let me know she's okay. Don't you, honey? Yeah. She is such a sweetheart. Cats are my favorite. Okay, so we have the Devil, in reverse. Okay, and everyone knows the reverse of the devil is God. And so I'm just kidding. So the devil in reverse could be that we're going through, or let's do this. Let's do this. Devil in reverse, okay, means we could be dealing with a stubborn Capricorn this next week coming up, okay? Stubborn Capricorns are not fun to deal with, okay? Not least fun of the signs to deal with. I should know. I'm a lot of Capricorns, so not fun to deal with when we're being stubborn. But when this is in reverse, and then we have this card underneath it, we have the devil in reverse, and then we have appreciation in reverse. So we could be working through overcoming, because the devil is about vices and using vices to escape. When the devil is in reverse, we're letting go of vices. We're letting go and we're being more present. And we're trying to work our best on accomplishing something. But maybe other people aren't seeing the struggles we've been through, and that makes us feel invalidated. Maybe other people don't see what we've been through as a big, meaningful thing, but we do. And that's the important part, is that we see them as deep, meaningful things because it's our lives. Other people don't need to acknowledge either our strifes, our struggles, or our successes. That's all on us to acknowledge, and that's all on us to be a part of that. I'm also hearing the word promise. I'm hearing the word promise right here, and I feel like that's dealing with promising someone that we're going to try something new, promising someone that we're going to try something different. That's what I feel like is going on. So the next week moving forward, we could be looking at dropping things that no longer serve us, it no longer sparks joy, throw it in the trash, right? And when we do that, we're going to allow more energy to come in. We're going to allow better energy to come in. That's the main thing here. Okay. Then we have Queen of Coins in reverse. Kind of hard to see. Beautiful Queen of Coins in reverse. And then we have this card, 6th Chakra, Archangel, Metatron. Okay. This is for the first week of December. So when we see 6th Chakra, Archangel, Metatron right here with the Queen of Coins in reverse, both of these are in reverse, we're looking at possibly not feeling like we're on the right track in our life, feeling like we've been disrupted or interrupted in something. I don't know if you guys have that. I don't know if that's something you have. You're deep in thought, things are going well, and then you have this person come in and they interrupt you, and you're almost mad at that person. You're almost mad at that person because you were so deep in thought and they came in and they distracted you. It could be a situation where we're feeling distracted. We're feeling not quite up to snuff, so to speak. And when we're feeling that way, it's hard for us to focus on the present moment. Okay, 6th Chakra, Archangel, Metatron in reverse. Okay, when this card is upright, it is intuition. It is the 3rd eye chakra. It's right here. Okay, right here. Don't ask me where the 4th eye is because we don't have time. But the 3rd eye chakra is one that sees through illusion. It's the intuition. Okay, meaning it's intuition that it needs to see the truth. But it was a bad joke. Very bad. Anyway, dad jokes on here. I'm a cat dad. You guys know we're jokesters. The Queen of Coins in reverse, though, it could be practical matters. The reason I'm thinking it's more thought-based or it's more in the physical world instead of being a spiritual thing is because the Queen of Coins is the anchor that comes down, goes into the earth. That's the Queen of Coins. When it's in reverse, though, we could feel ungrounded and not very present. Not very present. The first week, we're not feeling present in our own lives. Okay. These two cards together, I would almost read as the Hanged Man in reverse as well. We're refusing to see something for what it is. Maybe we're refusing to be grateful for a situation where, it could have been worse, right? Not trying to minimize a situation that could or did happen, but things could have been worse. And it's important for us to be grateful for how things are now, because there's not a lot we can do. We can roll with the punches. We don't get to decide. And maybe you guys won't like me saying this. I don't think we get to decide a lot in this life. I think it's kind of an on rails situation, meaning I feel like our whole lives, if you imagine a roller coaster, our whole lives we're riding a roller coaster, and the only thing we can do on that roller coaster, because it's on rails and it has a predetermined destination, is we can turn our head and we can look in different directions. That's something I feel. I feel there's certain lessons in our lives that no matter how we live our life, we're going to learn those lessons. Again, that's a me thing, but I feel like that's something, right? We have say in how we interact with those lessons. We have say in how we interpret those lessons. But a lot of times the lessons are teaching us non-attachment. They're teaching us to not be attached to a certain outcome, because attachment to a certain outcome causes desire, and desire causes suffering. Okay, if we're attached to something going a certain way and it doesn't, then we feel let down. We feel hurt. And so non-attachment is a good thing to practice. It doesn't mean not being emotional, but it means having mastery over the emotions. Okay, it means feeling things, but being able to still be detached in some way. It's kind of like Stoicism, which is not. Stoicism is not. Okay. Stoicism is not about being non-emotional. It's about being non-reactive and having emotional mastery, not having no emotions at all. Okay, that's completely asinine. Okay, so it's about mastery of the emotions, not no emotions. Okay, so then we have this one here. We have 5 of Swords. Okay, and then we have Angel of Strength in reverse. Now, 5 of Swords, that's an interesting card. 5 of Swords can be a card of mental ruin. It can be us thinking ourselves into a situation, making ourselves sick, so to speak, or think in this situation. When I see the Angel of Strength in reverse, it could be anxiety and things of that nature are getting the better of us. It can absolutely be that, because the 5 of any suit is almost like a destruction card. When we're talking about the tarot, and we're talking about the minor arcana, the way I envision it is kind of like this. The first card is at the bottom of the hill. Okay. The second card is it's going up and up and up. And then when we get to the 5th card, it's kind of coming down. It's getting ready to go into a downward motion until it hits that stage of completion, and then it starts going and back up again. But it's kind of like a wave or a cycle. And so the 5 cards are generally destructive cards because it's been building up and building up and building up. Here is an obstacle. That obstacle has us see things in different ways. And because of that, it feels like we've fallen to the bottom, but really what we've done is change our perspective, and then we can start to build up again. So it's not a crashing down. It's not like the Tower card, but it's something that there's an obstacle. We have to think a different way. Maybe we have to quit comparing ourselves to other people, and we need to focus on our own development. And that could be something that we're talking about here. Angel of Strength in reverse. Okay, this is us not willing to let go. To me, the Angel of Strength, when I see the Angel of Strength, it reminds me of a mixture between the heart chakra and the solar plexus chakra. Okay, now those 2 chakras, they're very intricately together, but yet they oppose each other. They oppose each other pretty severely, actually. So the solar plexus chakra is about willpower. It's a fire energy. It's willpower. It's making a decision and sticking to it. It's deciding, to be strong in certain situations, or it's deciding to go after what it is that we want in life. Okay, that's purpose can also be what we can call it as well. And the heart chakra is about letting go. The heart chakra is about letting go, letting things come to us, and realizing that basically anything in this life is borrowed. And we're lucky that we get to borrow. We're lucky that we get to borrow someone in our life. We're lucky that we get to borrow experiences. But at the end, we give it back. We give back the things that we've borrowed, and we leave the mortal coil, so to speak. Hopefully that doesn't sound too grim, but that's how I see it. So we have these borrowed experiences. Nothing is truly ours, but yet we cling to it. We cling to it like we have ownership. We don't. That's not the way it works. But Angel of Strength in reverse, we need to learn to let go. We're clinging on to an outcome. We're clinging on to, and hope can be a beautiful thing. Hope can be very powerful, but it can also kind of blind us to situations, right? Because sometimes we need to move on from a situation, and hoping that it gets better doesn't necessarily do anything. We need to take action to make it get better. And we need to stop holding on to a certain outcome and expecting it to happen just because we really, really want to. Sometimes we are meant for a different path, and it's better. Generally speaking, that different path is better for us than the one we were on, because the universe knows what we need more than we know what we need. As weird as that sounds, okay? As close as we think we know ourselves, the universe has us beat on every level. It knows us more profoundly, more deeply, more truly than we could ever know ourselves. Again, my opinion, but yeah. So, any questions on this? Any questions on this? Because if you guys have questions on the general readings here, we can talk about that. Just going to shuffle these cards here real quick. But all in all, it's going to be a week, kind of a trials and tribulations. But what's really good about these kinds of things, when we are being challenged, it generally means we're stepping out of our comfort zone. And when we're stepping out of our comfort zone, it means we're going to grow as people. So it's not a bad thing. It can seem like it. It seems like we're being picked on, but really we're being called to rise. We're being called to rise up. We're not necessarily being picked on and kicked when we're down. We're being called to rise up into a situation or into something. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle these cards here. And like I've been saying, guys, remember to like and subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, thank you. Absolutely, thank you. Okay, let's do this here. Okay. All right, so trials and tribulations, rising up to the challenge. And, making sure, another thing here that we can look at these cards as, is making sure that we just kind of keep going, right? We keep staying in the present moment. A lot of times I know it's easier to live in the past, or it's easier to focus on the future. But the only moment that we really have, because the past is a memory, right? Like I've said before, the past is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. And so that's something that we can do. We can continuously unwrap the present moment, and we can live there. Any other state, we're not living. We're not in the here and now. We're focusing on something that has happened or something that will happen, but we need to bring our awareness dead center and start being a participant in our lives. And maybe that's what this does, is it calls ourselves to action. It calls ourselves to wake up out of a state of autopilot and to start taking direction in our own lives and to start doing things in a different way, right? Where we're more consciously aware of what we're doing. So, yeah. So now I'm going to open it up again here. So if you guys would like, we can do $10 for one question. Okay, and I'll make sure it's accurate. I'll make sure you're heard and you will be in a safe space. Or we can do 3 questions for $25. So you save $5 if you do the 3-question option. I also have memberships down below. You guys can sign up to those, and those are monthly memberships where you can get, depending on the membership you purchase, you can get free questions, or you can get discounts on all questions moving forward. So pretty generous offers down below if you guys want to look at that. But yeah, so yeah, you guys let me know here. I'm going to put these cards away and shuffle them up again here. And maybe we'll see what we get for the second week in December. Again, if at any time you guys want to say, hey, I want to do a reading with you, I will put this on pause here and we'll focus on your reading. So let's do that here. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Here we go. Here we go. A couple more shuffles here. I'm going to shuffle these energy oracle cards, and I'm going to move on to these other ones here. These are the Fountain Tarot, and I use this deck super easy to shuffle. I love using this deck. And it's got that beautiful silver color. Hard to see on the camera. There you go. It's got that nice silver sheen to it. Okay, here we go. Alrighty. Okay, so second week of December. Let's see what we get here. All right, so we have Knight of Coins, Two of Coins in reverse, and Four of Cups. Okay. Oh. Need to stretch a little bit there. There we go. All right. So let's look at these other cards here, and then we'll do our reading for the second week of December. Now, depending on who's watching this or who's going to come back and watch this later on, things will change. Things will change. You could actually I could do the second week of December reading. I could probably do it an infinite number of times, and neither one of those would be the right option. It's all about perspective. And so if it resonates with you, that's awesome. But if it doesn't, it will resonate for someone else. And so that's usually how it goes. I'm going to shuffle these ones one more time. I feel like we need one more shuffle. Okay. Second week of December. Okay, so we have the Knight of Coins with Patience in reverse. Hey, Tree, how you doing? Patience in reverse. And the Knight of Coins. Okay. So when we see these two cards here, Knight of Coins is a card of kind of slowly accumulating. It could be physical wealth. It could be getting healthier after a sickness. But it's like someone who's accumulating something, and it's in a slow way. And generally, they're not taking anything from anyone else. It's kind of like they're allowing themselves to succeed. They're allowing themselves to be successful, but it's a slow course. But right here, Patience in reverse is saying that maybe things are going okay. Maybe things are happening the second week of December, but we're wanting things to happen quicker. And generally, when we want things to happen quicker, we start meddling in stuff. And when we do that, shit gets bad. Okay, shit gets real bad. We get into a real situation, so to speak. Seriously, though, this is something where we need to be patient. December, the second week, we could have something we really want to have happen, and we need to be patient. And I'm glad, Tree, I'm glad you're doing good. I'm glad you're doing all right. But that's something we need to have happen. Second week of December, we need to be kind of in a gentle state of focused readiness, if that makes any sense. If we attach ourselves to an outcome, again, we're just going to hurt ourselves in the long run. So if things are working, but they're just a little slow or they're really slow, but they are working, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Okay, don't touch it. Don't touch it. Then we have this card here. We got the Two of Coins in reverse with the Angel of Strength in reverse again. Okay. So Two of Coins in reverse, Angel of Strength in reverse. I'm feeling like we are feeling tempted on the second week of December. Hold on. We're feeling tempted that we need to do something. Or we're feeling like if we don't do something, it's going to slip through our fingers. Something is going to happen that makes it so we lose a business opportunity, or we we miss out on something. And there seems to be this kind of anxious energy where it's like, I need to do something. I need to do something. And almost I would look at this like investing or like doing anything else. We're wanting to get out. We're wanting to take a step back, and we're wanting to just mess with stuff. We're wanting to do something just for the sake of doing something. And a lot of us have grown up in a way where we feel like we have to struggle for a lot of the things that we have in this life, and we don't have to. We don't have to. That's something that's been kind of instilled in us, right? As things move on and we get better at understanding ourselves, we realize that we don't have to struggle as much. Okay, so let's look at this card here. Four of Cups. Okay. That one's upright, and then this one's also upright. So we have the World card. So, Four of Cups, when I see this card, it's a card of rest and rejuvenation, okay? That is a card of rest and rejuvenation. That's a card where someone is taking a break. As you can see, this person here, he's just going to sit in this dark blue room, and he's going to take a rest. You know, everyone has that dark blue room that they rest in. It's kind of where we're at here. The World is about progress. The World is a card of progress. There's the Wheel of Fortune, or the Wheel of Fortune card, okay? And that card is about it's kind of like randomness, like it's fate. It's good or bad, either one. But the Four of Cups and then the World card here is saying that resting is also progressing, right? Or, because I want it to rhyme, resting is progressing. And that's something that we're going to do. But resting is progress. A lot of us have been told that we have to strive very, very hard just to simply do anything. And that's not the case. That is not the case, but we've been told we have to. And so we need to rewrite that. Hey, Emma, how are you doing? But it takes time to rewrite this narrative that we've built up. It takes time. But rest is something that we need, okay? Imagine yourself without sleep for, even just 20 hours. If a human doesn't sleep for 20 hours, not good, right? You have to rest in order to wake up and do things again. We have to recuperate. And so that's what I'm seeing is going to be the second week of December. It's going to be a time of recuperation. It's going to be a time of getting our shit together, so to speak. That's what I'm seeing here. I'm doing good too, Emma. Just recovering from a not so fun Thanksgiving. Hopefully your Thanksgiving was better. I don't know where you're based in, but having a bunch of people get together and argue about stuff, not my favorite thing, but yeah. And yeah, Emma, right. You can't run on an empty tank, but a lot of people try to. A lot of people feel guilty for resting. And that's usually people that have people-pleasing tendencies, and that's usually people that are also perfectionists. Those two go hand in hand, people-pleasing and perfectionism. And neither one of those tasks ever gets accomplished. Because as soon as anyway, not going to lecture, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So, second week, we rest, we progressed. Actually, that works. That does work, actually. Resting is progressing, okay? We do not get anywhere by forcing ourselves to achieve. As soon as we start forcing ourselves to do something, we're no longer in that way. Oh, you're lucky, Emma. You are so lucky you're not in the United States. Thanksgiving, okay, I'm gonna make you a story here. I'm gonna tell you how it goes. Thanksgiving is where a bunch of people that don't necessarily like each other get into one household for 3 or 4 days. And it's bad. It's bad. It's weird, tense energy everywhere. It's loud, you know. I'm a very quiet person. So anyway, it's not the funnest, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I just like to be honest. If someone says, how are you doing? I'm not going to be like, I'm doing great when I'm recovering from an interesting time. But yeah, I try to do that on the channel where we talk about that stuff. But thank you for your concern. I appreciate that. Okay. Okay. So let's do this here. remember, guys, to like and subscribe if you're liking the content I'm laying down. You know, I would appreciate it. It would help the channel a lot. But let's do this here. I'm going to shuffle these cards again, and we'll see what we can come up with. All right, one more. Well, let's do two more shuffles here. Okay. Last shuffle. This will be for the third week of December. What can we expect? And I'm going to be shuffling these cards as well. Let's see what we can do here. Already focusing on this, I'm seeing the colors red, like a maroon kind of red, and a blue color. So it's going to be communication. Communication, I feel like, is going to be a theme for this next reading. So let's see what we can come up with. Oh, okay. We had a card pop out. That never happens, and it popped out kind of weird. So kind of like a hernia, right? They always pop out kind of weird. All right, so let's do this. Let's keep shuffling. And one more shuffle here. I think we'll do the energy cards on top this time and go from there. Okay, let's do this. Alrighty. Let's look at these cards over here. Okay. All right. So we have this card, walking away, and Two of Swords in reverse. Walking away, Two of Swords in reverse. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. And that's it. That's my magic trick. So walking away, Two of Swords in reverse. This, to me, is saying that we are wanting to walk away from a situation. We're thinking about walking away from a situation, but something is holding us back. Okay. So this could be walking away from a toxic relationship, or this could be walking away from a job that no longer serves you. But this is saying that you're done. Part of you is done. And what's really interesting with being done is that eventually, like it or not, when we hit that point and we keep doing the thing that we don't want to do, we will blow up. We will have a moment where we blow up, we get upset, we get angry, because the emotions have to come out somewhere. And if we're feeling fed up, there has to be some sort of outlet for those emotions. So I'm feeling the third week of December, we are getting ready to say, you know what, I'm done. Possibly with an air sign. And I'm only saying air sign because the Two of Swords represents the air cards, or represents the air zodiac. So Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. That's the one. That's the one. Which is interesting because as we go on to Libra, we get this card here. So on the next pile, little thing here, we get Angel of Balance. And we get the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. Both of these cards are upright. Angel of Balance and Wheel of Fortune. So what does that mean? Okay. Angel of Balance is just that. It's balancing things out. There's the duality concept. There's integration going on here. So the third week in December is going to be a time where we feel that we can take the time to take the parts of ourselves we haven't looked at, and we're looking at them. Okay, this could be, I feel like for some of us, this could be we're taking a writing course and we're learning how to write our emotions. Or for some of us, it could be that we're just learning how to sit with ourselves and not be disgusted. Believe it or not, people can do that. But that's something that I feel like we're going to do. So I feel like the third week of December, we're learning to set boundaries, and we're learning how self-love comes into the equation. We're learning that a little bit more. So this is really good, right? It's one of those things where when we set boundaries and we move towards that self-love concept, we get to see who is really there for us and who isn't. Okay. And I'll let you men and women in on a secret. If you ever want to know if a relationship is a good match or not, and don't do this in a manipulative way, but set boundaries with the person. Say, I don't appreciate talking about that, or I don't appreciate this when they cross that line, and see how they react. See how someone reacts when you set a boundary. That will tell you about their character and their personality more than anything else. Again, don't do it in a manipulative way, but have boundaries and see if people cross those boundaries. See how they react when you call them out if they cross those boundaries. But that's a really good way to find if a relationship's a good match. Okay, so Wheel of Fortune here is about progression, or not progression. Wheel of Fortune, it's kind of like the World card, but it's random. It's a fortune wheel, right? You can have good fortune, bad fortune, good luck, bad luck. So it's kind of like things are moving, but we don't know necessarily if it's going to be in what we consider a good direction. Okay. I'll let you in on a secret. Nothing is good or bad, but perception makes it so. And that could be a situation we're looking at here. Maybe some bad things happen when we set boundaries, or we move more towards self-love. We become more courageously, authentically ourselves. That can be something that can be a positive thing. But maybe people don't want to understand it. Oh, perfect, Emma. Awesome. But maybe people don't want to understand. And if someone doesn't want to understand us and they don't want us to get what we want or achieve what we want in our lives, it's best to say sayonara in that situation. If someone is blocking us actively from self-expression, or from just going after what we want in life, or they make fun of us, or they're just that kind of person, we don't need them in our lives. Okay. And that's absolutely true for any kind of connection. We don't need that. We don't need that. We can have a situation where we get to go through what we're going through, and we can have people that cheer us on. But sometimes we have to go through shitty situations to get to good ones. The reason I say this is when we are younger, or even older, but when we're younger, we have a certain set of ideals. Society has told us how to be. If we're men, we're women, whatever. Society has told us how to be. And generally, society beats the sense into us that we're not as important as other people. Okay. Once we find out that we're just as important as other people, that's a huge transformation. That's a huge shift. And that's important for us to express that, because when we start to do that for us, we're showing that we love ourselves, that we respect ourselves, and that we won't settle for less anymore. And sometimes the people that were in our lives, 5, 10, 15 years ago, they were in that mindset. They were in that kind of toxic mindset. And maybe we attracted the wrong kind of people during that time. And a lot of times when we start to step into self-love, those kinds of people, they'll call us out for being toxic. They'll call us out for doing certain things, but they're the ones that can't move on. They're the ones that have been stuck in the same mentality for 5, 10, 15 years. They haven't grown as people. And it's important for you to realize that you can step away from that connection and say it no longer serves you. There's nothing wrong with that. Certain people in certain situations, they are there for us and they help us learn certain lessons, but it does not mean we have to be there forever with that person. That's not at all what's intended. Okay. All right. So let's look at this here. So then we have this. We have action. Okay. And we have the Four of Swords. Four of Swords, this is an interesting one too. Four of Swords is also a rest card, but right above the rest card, we have action. So what this is saying to me is the third week of December, we need to learn how to be more adaptable. We need to learn what that would look like for us. Adaptability is just the simple fact of being flexible and neutral in any situation so that when something comes up, we can handle it. As soon as we've attached expectations to something, or we're too strongly in one direction towards an event or something happening, we risk being hurt. We risk being let down in some way. Adaptability is allowing things to happen and then adjusting to them on the fly. If we try to, the opposite of adaptability is rigidness, right? And what's funny is that rigidness can be very brittle at the same time. Okay. If you take a steel beam, pretty sure I'm remembering this right. If you take a steel beam, which is very, very rigid and very strong, and you freeze it and you make it very, very cold, it becomes very brittle and it can break, it can shatter, right? Because it's so rigid, it actually becomes the opposite, right? And if something is too flexible, it lacks form or substance, and that's not good either. So there's definitely a middle road we need to travel where we're adaptable, where we expect things to happen, but we also expect things to not happen, and we allow life to happen, and then we work our way around it, rather than thinking, if this goes this way, then I can act this way. Because what happens is we're creating future scenarios of an event that hasn't even happened yet, and we're spending so much mental energy on something that's not even in reality at the moment, and then we're thinking, okay, if it's real, then it's going to do this, this, and this. A lot of times you can think of every single outcome you could possibly think of, and life is going to throw you a curveball anyway. Think of how many times that's happened. Overthinking, overanalyzing the situation isn't going to make it go in our favor. In fact, the universe likes to teach us lessons where you want to overthink about it. Here's a situation you can overthink, but it's going to be something you won't expect. It's going to be something you're not going to expect every time. Eventually, we'll learn that lesson. But so Four of Swords and action. This to me is saying, be adaptable, be in harmony with your environment. Don't push against something that is just us being stubborn, right? You guys can do whatever it is you want to do. I'm just reading the cards. But don't push against that which can help us. A lot of times we tend to go in the wrong direction when it comes to just being very stubborn and persistent that something needs to happen this way. And yeah, a good story. Are you guys up for hearing a little analogy or a story? You guys let me know if you're up for hearing a story that kind of relates to this situation, and I can give you the story. I prattle on and on, so I want to make sure you guys are okay with it. But yeah, adaptability is the name of the game, right? I'll actually be making sure on something here. But I do like doing stories or analogies or similar things so that it can kind of sink in a little bit, right? Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to tell you the story anyway. So everyone gather around. Okay, this is from a retelling of this is from Alan Watts. You guys check Alan Watts out if you dig it, man. Just check him out. He's awesome. Okay, so here we go. Got to get my story voice going. Once upon a time, there was a Chariot. That's my story voice. Okay, let's try this again. Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. That evening, all of his neighbors came around to commiserate. They said, "We are so sorry to hear your horse has run away. This is most unfortunate." The farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back, bringing 7 wild horses with it. And in the evening, everybody came back and said, "Oh, isn't that lucky? What a great turn of events you have. You have 8 horses." The farmer again said, "Maybe." The following day, his son tried to break one of the horses, and while riding it, he was thrown and broke his leg. The neighbors then said, "Oh dear, that's too bad." And the farmer responded, "Maybe." The next day, the conscription officers came around to conscript people into the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. Again, all the neighbors came around and said, "Isn't that great?" Again, he said, "Maybe." The whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexity. And it's really impossible to tell whether anything that happens in it is good or bad, because you never know what will be the consequence of the misfortune. Or you never know what will be the consequences of good fortune. Okay. Basically, bad things can lead to good things can lead to bad things. Sometimes the thing that we have desired our whole life, we get it, and it's not what we wanted. But we don't know that we don't want it until we get it. That's a weird tongue twister. I'll never be able to say it again, but yeah, you guys understand what I'm trying to say, I think. But that story is all about going with the flow, right? And I understand we get attached in this life. Our avatars, meaning my flesh suit, my meat body, and your meat body, we tend to get attached to these things, and we tend to be a little biased in the outcome of events. We want things to go our way. I understand that. That makes perfect sense. But sometimes it's not up to us. In fact, most times it's not. A lot of life is having random things thrown at you. And then the universe sits back and says, how are you going to handle this situation? You know, next time on Chance's life, what the hell's going on? So hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully that that story helps you guys sort of understand the concept I'm trying to get across here. Adaptability is the name of the game. If we're too far left or we're too far right, then we're too far gone. Okay? So, yeah. All right. So, you guys know the drill. Second verse, same as the first. Like and subscribe the video if you guys wouldn't mind. I would really appreciate it. And again, one question, $10. 3 questions, $25. I also do energy healing. And we can do all that kind of stuff too. So if you guys are interested, please let me know. But if not, let's move on to week 4. If you do have a question and you guys do pay for a reading, you can interrupt me at any time. All right. Let's get these cards shuffled. All right. Let's see this here. You're very welcome, Kiru. You have a good one, okay? Very welcome. I wish you well on Friday, and let me know how it goes. Sending positive vibes your way. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. All right, 4th week of December. You guys need to stay tuned because we're going to do a 5th week of September after this, or December after this. It's going to be wild. No, let's do this one. Let's see what we can do here. 4th week of December. What do we need to know for the 4th week of December? There we go. All right, let's shuffle these ones a couple more times. 4th week of December. Let's see what we got. All right. Okay, 4th week of December. Okie dokie. Let's see what we get here. Remove these cards over here. All right, so let's see what we got here. So we have the Tower card in reverse. Okay. And then we have indecision right here. These two cards could be the fourth week of December. We could be looking at New Year's resolutions. Okay. This is an interesting time because we get to make goals and then not do them. So this is always a good time of year. But when we have the Tower in reverse and we have indecision, it's not allowing things to crumble that need to crumble. Again, holding on, clinging on to an outcome. And I feel like this is something, obviously, I feel like everyone struggles with this, including myself, very much so. I'm a Taurus. I'm very stubborn. Hello, how are you? But this right here is something that we need to learn how to let go so that new things can come into our life. If we're holding on a fist that is closed cannot hold much, right? And a lot of times this is what we're doing. We're holding and we're grasping onto energy that is no longer serving us. But we're used to the pain that this energy has caused us, and we don't want to let go of it because it may be painful, but it's pain that we know. It's pain that we expect. Okay? That's the energy I'm talking about here. We also have indecision, this card right here. And this, like I said, this is not allowing things to progress. This is stopping or halting the process. So we could be wanting to make a new goal, wanting to make some New Year's resolutions, but it does feel like we're going to kind of break our own hearts, possibly. It doesn't mean we will, but it means there's a possibility of us sort of setting out to harm ourselves in some way. Sort of self-sabotage would be what I'm talking about here. Okay. Now for the fourth week of December, we have the Seven of Swords right here. And then we have the Sun card. Seven of Swords in reverse and the Sun card in reverse. Okay. These cards right here, this is telling me that we could be stealing our own happiness. We could be stealing our own sense of happiness. The Seven of Swords is a card, when it's in reverse, it can mean giving back in a way. But how I'm viewing this is that we come in, our mind tells us what to do and how to do it, and then we say, okay. And then we follow it to a T, and then things still don't turn out the way we want them to. And it's because we're doing it, maybe we're doing these resolutions, or we're doing something out of a feeling of like I need to do it instead of out of a feeling that I want to do it. And a lot of us are leading lives of I need to. And that creates a disconnect. Because if we're needing to do something constantly, then there's no time for I want to. And the I want tos are hobbies, they're projects, they're passionate ventures that we're working on. Those are the things that kind of give life that extra little spice. And so the fourth week of December, we need to prioritize what it is we view as important or not important. We need to prioritize those things, and then we need to set out to make those things a bigger part of our life coming into this new year. There's going to be a lot of energy. I'm already feeling a lot of energy, especially throat chakra. In fact, last reading, the third week of December, and this one, the fourth week of December, I'm feeling that a lot. I'm feeling a lot of this kind of energy of needing to do something instead of wanting to. Okay. And that's going to block off stuff here. That's going to block off your connection to your throat chakra. Your throat chakra is about you expressing your truth, letting other people express their truth, but also being comfortable enough to listen to what other people have to say, but also understand that your views and your opinions are also valid. Okay. So then we have this card here. We have the Fool card in reverse. And then we have Cornucopia right here. Okay. So the Fool card in reverse with the Cornucopia card, I'm just going to put my hand up here. The Fool card in reverse with the Cornucopia card, we're looking at kind of similar to the Tower. We're looking at not wanting to start over. We're looking at not wanting to start again. And here's the interesting thing. If we view starting again as starting over, then yeah, that's disheartening. But if we view starting again as getting to try something different, getting to look at it from a different perspective, that's going to feel better. Because we were already building ourselves up to something that did not work, something that we weren't happy with. So if we have to start over again with whatever it is, we get to incorporate a new way of trying it. We get to incorporate something. So the end of one thing can actually be a beautiful beginning to another. And the Fool in reverse with the cornucopia card is telling us that abundance is within our grasp. All we have to do is take a leap of faith and trust that there will be abundance. Trust that there will be something there that will help us and guide us towards a better future. But yeah, so that to me, 4th week of December, in fact, all the readings to me seem like they're good readings. There's going to be trials and tribulations. I feel like that's why we're here. We're not here to live necessarily easy lives all the time. But we're here to live lives that have lessons, that have experiences, and we learn to love in different ways, and we learn to feel in different ways, and we learn how to be with each other in different ways. And that to me is kind of the name of the game, right? So with that, unless someone comes on here and is wanting to do a reading, I'm thinking that's it for today. But thank you guys very much for tuning in, watching, and coming on here and wishing me all the best. I appreciate you guys coming on here. And I will talk to you guys maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday. So be on the lookout. And thanks again, guys, so much. And I will see you guys later. Toodaloo.